You're live with me, TSV, and I'm always everywhere you want to be. And for all my loyal day ones, you know where I am. I am in Tigo tonight. What's Tigo, you may ask? For those who don't know, that's Tiffany's Ego, aka my studio room and my guest room at my house. Now, y'all already know that I'm remodeling my guest room and I'm turning it into a studio. So, y'all already know the deal. But let me tell you who I have with me tonight. I have the beautiful, the incomparable ReCe Wilson. Hey, ReCe, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, Tiffany, thank you for having me.
No problem. Now, look, I know she been working all day and it has been hot today. How have y'all been doing out there in the heat? So today I decided to go to Spa World, ReCe. I took a little trip to Centerville. In Spa World, it's like an Asian bathhouse, and it has all these bidet pools and jacuzzis and saunas. But it was so hot yesterday and today, I didn't even go in a sauna. I said I don't want to be hot and sticky anymore, so I didn't go in the sauna today. But I hope y'all are hydrated out there. If you're out, I hope that you're drinking a lot of water, putting a lot of liquids and electrolytes because it's a hot one. Did you have to be out in the heat today, Reese?
So, look, let me tell you something. So, I do have a job. I'll explain what a job is in a few
Mm-hmm.
minutes. But I was at my job today, and how about I'm in property management now? Property management, and our property did not have, but we have two air conditions, two systems, clubhouse and on outside where the office is. All both of them was off. It was hot. When I say I was sitting in there like, oh my God, couldn't breathe. My computer stopped working, and my supervisor was like, yeah, you could go ahead and go home. Thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
hot.
Yes. It's too hot for all that. And yesterday, a lot of people celebrated the 4th and was out. I know I was out on the line. I'm in Maryland. Reese's in Maryland too. And I saw that you was out there in DC. How was it for you out there on the National Mall yesterday?
Listen, it was hot. It was hot, but I saw that you were there. So I think we might have been right across the street from you. So you were on the side where the Capitol is. We were right where
Mm-hmm.
the mall, but directly across the street from the Capitol. So we could hear I'm going to say frankly, we could hear Smokey Robinson. I did not hear Fantasia. Did she go
Mm-hmm.
first? She went first.
She did.
We missed her.
She sung the Star Spangled Banner, and then she came back out and she sung the song by Stevie Wonder. She did a Stevie Wonder song. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I saw
hmm
you was there. Looked like you was having a fabulous time. It was a million people. I'm gonna be honest. I'm born and raised Washington D.C. Listen,
hmm
I didn't want to go, but my 13-year-old wanted to go, so I didn't want to rob her of that experience. So we went on and went with her. It
right.
was raining. We thought we wasn't going to go, but we ended up going. So it was nice. It was a lot of people.
Yeah, it
Did you
definitely
have
was a lot
fun?
of people. I did. I had a good time. I went with my teammate from work. She actually hit me up at like one something in the morning on the 4th, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And at the time, I didn't know what I was doing, so I hit her back later, and I was like, "Well, I think I'm gonna go into DC." So we went into DC, had our little backpacks. Her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend came with us, and they went and did their own thing. We went over to the concert, but we got caught in the rain. But I'm a rain person. I love the rain. So it didn't bother me too much, but I was just definitely hot and sticky. And being so hot and sticky yesterday, I
Hot and
said, you know
sticky.
what? I know I'm here. I don't want to be hot and sticky today.
No, and then I went to
Yeah.
work today, and I was
But
hot
you
and
say, oh,
we good because
you
I don't
say
know.
that you're a
There's a
DC
delay.
native, and yeah, it's a delay, and I don't know why. But hope we're good. We're gonna keep it rolling. But I know you said you were a DC native, and I was talking to my girlfriend about it yesterday because so I'm not a DC native at all. I'm not a Maryland native. I went here for college, and then I moved back to Virginia, moved back here. But in the process of moving back and forth, my family that live here, they say how a lot of people that are from DC, Maryland, or DMV, the V that's in the Northern Virginia, they are not too big on going downtown for the 4th, even though you have people coming from near and far. A lot of DC natives or Marylanders, they don't like to go into DC for the 4th because it's like too many people and the traffic and the roads closed here and there. What's up with that?
Yeah, they're absolutely right. But however, you know, we have the same blood, the same DNA. So we had favor yesterday. We probably ran into a smidget of traffic, but we came from, our area and we went right through. We even found a parking space. We had a little walk, but it was decent, right? The hills wasn't no joke. Over by the Capitol, those hills, it wasn't no joke, but the traffic was fine. What I thought was going to happen and us being in the gridlock, that didn't happen. So I was pleasantly surprised, and I thank God. And I just think it was the favor that's on our life.
Period. So you hear ReCe talking about favor, same DNA, same blood. So me and ReCe are both members of Victory Christian Ministries International Charles County campus. And I met ReCe probably when I first started going there, I started in August. I moved here August 1st of 2020. And I think I started going to VCMI mid-August of 2020. That's when we were still in COVID. And remember, we were having parking lot service.
Yeah.
So I feel like I met you the day our pastors weren't there, but Peter and Kiana. Well, y'all, I know Kiana, but I think everybody else called her Faith. They were preaching that day, and I actually met you. I thought you were so friendly, and that's when I met you. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'ma like her."
Well, thank you. All these years later, we're still here. We together.
That's right.
We stuck like glue. We can't go nowhere.
Right. ReCe reeled me in, and y'all know I became a deacon last year, and it's her fault. It's all because of Deacon ReCe. She pulled me into the ministry of being a deacon, and I'm like, y'all know me. I don't care about titles, labels on all this, that, and the other, but she reeled me in, and I knew it was her doing when I got the call. I was like, why she won't? Because she said 1 year before that, oh, you gonna do it? No. Then she did it again, and I'm like, okay. But that was only God using her. That was God using her. So I'm happy, and I love serving with ReCe and everybody else at church. Go ahead.
So I was going to ask you a question, and we kind of talked about it the other night, but when you just said that I reeled you in, I just thought about something. Do you remember one time we was in service, and we've been in a lot of services together, and you were singing, and I turned around and I was like, oh, you can sing? Do you remember that? It was one day you were singing your butt off in service. You remember? And I was like, oh, you can sing. So definitely I am one for our church, because our church is a serving church and we do life together, right? So if I see somebody's gift on them, I am going to point it out and be like, maybe you should, do this, or maybe you should do whatever it is. If I see it, I am that one that's going to point it out. So yes, I'm so glad we get to serve together.
Yeah, me too. And so serving with ReCe, I got to know her well. And let me tell y'all, Miss Ma'am launched a book. And I think you launched in 2021?
Yes.
22?
2021.
So 21. I knew I was right. I can't have you upside down. Got to get you in the camera. The book is called She Rose. Look at it. Let me get it close. From Rejection to Resilience. And first of all, can we get into how good you're looking on the cover? And as we talk, we're going to talk more about everything about ReCe. But look at the style. Who styled you for this? Like, where did you come up with the whole? Because I'm a color girl. A lot of people, my people at home know I love color. I will mix match color any day. And you're doing the light pink with the baby blue. I don't know how good they can see it with my lighting. But who styled you for that? Did you style yourself? Do you have a stylist? So
I actually, what are you
doing? Because you look good.
Listen, I actually styled myself. Listen, I styled myself. I picked out a color because My color is red. Like red is my favorite color, so that's why you'll
Mhm.
see it in my hair or a touch of it. But that day I wanted something different, and I just went all
Mhm.
out and I saw the colors. I'm a color girl, so it doesn't. I don't have no problems wearing any color. But that particular day, I had an
Mhm.
awesome time. Even I want to give a shout out to my cousin Ty. She did my makeup, so she beat my face, and she was actually
Nice.
there on the scene with me. And guess who took the pictures? Dion at church.
Who?
Dion,
Oh, go ahead, Dion.
he took the picture. So that background is something that the illustrator created, but the actual picture,
Mhm.
I'll send it to you so you can see it. It was in Alexandria, Virginia. I mean, we did a whole photo shoot. So shout out to Dion and also to Ty Cobb. They did an excellent job just being my team that day, and we had an awesome time. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right, and you gotta put some spec on her name. That's Pastor Ty now. Pastor
Pastor
Ty Cobbs,
Ty.
who's doing amazing things. She is producing the well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Let's not jump ahead. So you wrote a book called She Rose from Rejection to Resilience. Let's get into it a little bit. Tell us about the book and what made you want to write a book to share the things that we have in this book.
Yeah, so funny thing, like all of the things that I was going through, and I'm one who used to be very, very, very shy. And I think you read the
Mm-hmm.
book, so you might have caught that in the beginning,
Yes,
right? I used to be
I
very
did.
shy. I'm not that girl no more. That's not me.
Not at all.
Um, However, for far as the book, I will tell my story, and people will be like, "You a storyteller," or "Oh my God, you went through that. You need to write that and put it in a book." So people used to, and it didn't matter what part of my life. If I was talking about whatever, and I'll just be talking, they'll say, "You need to put that in a book." So it was actually my friends and just people that I met. If I was sharing any part of my life, they would say, "That's a good story. Wow, you need to put that in a book." So eventually I just started writing. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of how we got started.
Oh, good. So how long did it take you? Because this now let me tell y'all, She Rose is a easy read. Not because I'm saying oh it's easy, but this is an easy read because it's a page turner. And I read the book within a few hours. That's how much I was. It had me on my toes. Like I kept reading. People would call me. I'm reading. My sister. I talk to my sister every day, all day, almost. And she kept calling. I'm like, Ash, I'm reading. She's like, okay, go ahead, read the book. But it's a page turner. So how long did it take you to write the book? And did you get like what a lot of us, I say us because I'm working on a book, did you get any writer's block? Could you get any writer's block with your book?
Well, the wonderful, wonderful shout out to my publisher, Ashley Graham of Lift Bridge Publishing Company. She told me that there's no such thing of writer block, especially not as a Christian,
Okay.
because God gives
Mm-hmm.
us what to write. So it's no such thing as a writer block, even though you hear so many people say it and they've been saying it for years. And when I thought that's what I had, mine was really I wanted to be careful. So to answer your question, it took me 15 years. My God, 15
Mm-hmm.
years to write the book. And that's because I had to make sure, one, I was healed because I went through a lot, right? As you know,
Mm-hmm.
as you read, I went through a lot. I wanted to make sure I was healed. I wanted to make sure that I was holding myself accountable. I didn't want to blame others. And all those different stories, I had to change the names. So even if you come to me and you'll say, "Oh, what about
Right.
Tiffany?" And I'll be like, let me see, tell me the story. So you will probably have to tell me the story because all of my stories are true, but I had to change the name. And some of the names I had to, be creative, like,
Mm-hmm.
Sherry is close to, another name. So I just had to make sure that I was
Another
ready.
name, right.
Yeah, close to another name. I was ready, and I definitely had to make sure that I was healed and ready to tell my story, because once it's out there, it's out there. And as chapter 12, it's covered under the blood, so it's nothing that anybody can say, do, think, or whatever. Like, I am in a great place, and I'm just ready to let everyone else know that you could tell your story. It doesn't have to take 15 years. You don't have to have writer's block, right? Go ahead and just write, and, be Holy Spirit led. God will help you. That's what Holy Spirit is there for, right? To be our guide. So just write and get it out there.
To be our guide. Oh, so you stepping on all my toes and my little heartstrings and everything. Just right. That's a whole word in itself, because oftentimes I'll talk about me. I can't talk about nobody else. I know I'll start and I'll stop. I'll start and I'll stop. And I got to get in a good groove. And then I'm like, And then I'll do it again. But just right. Even if so, it was I have went to the PG County Film Fest because I'm into producing, directing as well, and were talking about how they do a 15 where write for 15 minutes, stop for 15 minutes, write for 15, and stop for 15. And I started doing that, and that's something that a lot of people don't know about in the writer's game, how different people do different things. Because some people can lock themselves away in a room for hours and just write. Some people have to start and stop. And some people have to go completely away and write. And I know for me as well, sometimes when I was home, I could not write as well at home. So I would go sit somewhere with different lighting and I would write. Did you have a place where you felt more comfortable writing, or did your creative juices flow more at a different place than another place?
Well, it was different. Again, we talking about over a period of time. So I'll say this: when I ended my writing, the end of the book, I went away. So I was that one that went away. Me and my girls, we left and we went to Florida. I got an Airbnb. Now, the reason why I was going there was because I was a part of 2 different multi-level marketing businesses. Both of them had a conference in Florida at the same time. And I paid to go to both of them. I didn't go to neither one of them. I said, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to finish the book. So I stayed in the Airbnb. I might have left out a couple of hours just so, my daughter, she was younger then, could go to Disney World. And we just, got on. We didn't go inside the park, but I was determined not to come back home that weekend until we completed the book. And it was definitely something that I'm glad that I did. And another thing is, because remember what I said, that a lot of people will listen to me as I'm talking and they'll say, oh, my God, like, that's a good story. So I had someone else with me, and they were typing as I was talking. So they were typing as I was talking. Another key that you can do is record yourself. Record your thoughts. You might be in your car and something comes to you and you don't have the chance to write. Your tablet could be right there, your journal and your pen, but you're driving. So you can speak into it. So I did a lot of that as well. I would be thinking and like, oh, that was good. Let me go ahead and record that. And then I would transcribe it over to, wherever I was keeping all of my information. So those are just a couple of little tips that I did. I told you I took a writer's class and my creative juices came. That's how I got all of the names of the chapters of my book, named after shoes. So it's just different technique. Just don't lock yourself in a box, because God is a creator and we are his creation, and we're not locked in a box.
Right. You dropping jewels tonight. I hope people are picking it up. And when you watch the playback that you pick it up, because you dropping some jewels tonight and I love it. So you said that, and I know because I read the book, that your chapters are named after shoes. Ms. ReCe Wilson, I heard a lot about you and shoes. What's up with that? Why did you name the chapters after shoes, and where did your love for shoes come from?
Probably at the age of 16. I started modeling, and the young lady taught me how to wear high heel shoes. And I wore high heels every day, all day until COVID happened.
Wow.
I did not own a pair of sneakers. If I did, it might have been one pair, right? And didn't wear it. All of my shoes were high heels. Now I got flats, half flats, but never. I just love shoes. I love, and not the little. Now I might wear
Not
short,
no kid
little,
here.
not no kitty heels. They had to be 4 and higher. Like
Or
I was,
higher.
yes. And you see me, like I love heels. And I had over 200 pairs of shoes.
Girl.
Over
You
to,
gave
and I
some
gave away
away.
some. I got a whole bag right now that I'm about to give to Goodwill. But yes, I had a whole over 200 pairs. And this is another giveaway. I've been giving them away over the years, but yes.
Well, now can we, before we go into how you decided to name your chapters of the book after shoes, can you give us ladies some pointers on how to walk in heels? Since you modeled, you're professionally trained, and I do know because I was a heel lover, and I still am, but I just don't wear heels as much now. When I went and started, I was a waitress for a while. Then I went into education, and I work with little kids, so I really didn't wear heels, and we don't dress up too much at church. But I said I wanted to get back into wearing heels, and look, I was wearing 4-inch heels at over 325 pounds. So I know if I could do it then, I can do it now. I'm much smaller than 325, but it's just about getting back into the swing of things. So can you tell us, ladies, what are some tips or what's some things that we can do in our heels or to get back into our heels?
Listen, I haven't gotten back a little bit. I do it on Sundays, but during the week, I'm in some flip flops, some sandals, something. But really, I think is heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. You just walk. One thing that I would say, a lot of people, they will stand and then you just letting your foot lean. No, you gotta make sure you standing straight up, like no heels leaning. I don't care how, like you said, 300 and something pounds. I have seen full-figure women rocking some heels, yes. So that's no excuse. Your weight is not no excuse. You run that shoe. That shoe do not run you. Listen, that's you right. Got to stand straight up and go ahead and walk and strut in them, and you can do it. Yes. So I would just say, make sure you got your balance, get your girl strut on. Just do what you do. Now, when she taught me, that was back in the day. Of course, I'm not the expert. We had books on our head and we was balancing like thick books on our head, balancing how we were walking, and that's how I learned how to walk in heels. And I love me a cute heel, and I do not wear shoes to hurt my feet. I'm not doing that. They could be super cute all day long, but if it hurt, they do not belong to ReCe. They belong to somebody else. So I don't do shoes to hurt.
Right. And another thing too, I think, because like I said, I used to wear heels all the time. When I was in high school, about 11th or 12th grade, I used to wear heels and walk around school all day, probably 3 or 4 times a week. And then I would wear my heels to church, and I was much bigger. And I think another key tip to being able to wear your heels is making sure you get a shoe that fits you properly, because the shoe can't be too big and it can't be too small, because if it's too small, you're not going to be able to walk in it. If it's too big, you can't walk in them because they're going to flip-flop off your feet. But the key is finding a shoe that fits your foot perfectly, because when it fits perfectly, you might even be able to run in them heels. I have before. Now I ain't going to recommend it all the time to be out there running in heels, but I have done that before. But since we're still talking about heels and shoes, the chapters in your books are named after shoes. Tell me about that.
What part you want to know?
I want to know, why did you decide? I know you love shoes, but why did you decide to name them after shoes? And then we can start getting into how you broke it down, because I absolutely love the creativity that you did with the name of the shoe, how it interwoven into the way the chapters, or what the chapters talked about. So what made you want to do that?
That, I'm telling you, it was all God. I was sitting in my class. It was called Finish the Book Already. And it was a hint for me to finish the book. And again, I was with Ashley. And I was just sitting there and I was like, what do I love, right? If I was a plant lover, maybe I'll name it after plants, right? And still talk about my
Mm-hmm.
story. But I don't know nothing about plants. But I do know about shoes. And I know ever since I was a child, I had shoes, right? Even as a little girl. And I remember the different shoes that I wore. So as I was going through my different, chapters, I was like, okay, this one will go with this. And that flip flop one, that one just hit
Mm-hmm.
differently because I was like,
It did.
flip flop, right? So it was just something that was God gave it to me. I cannot, that's all I can say. I ain't trying to be over spiritually.
Right.
It was definitely something that a creativity that came from God and how it all lined up. And everybody talks about, and I didn't get it from nowhere, nobody, I didn't see it anywhere else. And I'm not saying nobody else did it. I haven't seen it even to this day, but literally God gave me that vision and I just ran with it. So write the vision, make it plain so
And
others can see.
make it plain. That's right.
I just
So
gonna run with
I
it.
think that's right. And so I think that I love, like I said, I loved how you named the chapters in your book. So we're gonna get into a little bit of the book tonight. We don't want to tell. We're not gonna sit here and talk about every single thing in the book, because if you want to know, then you got to buy it. And if you really want to know what you'll be doing on July 20th at 4:00 p.m., it's coming to Victory Christian Ministries Charles County campus, so you can see this book come to life. So ReCe has turned her book into a play, and the play is going to be taking place on July 20th. So we're going to talk a little bit about the book, but we want y'all to come see the play. So we're not going to give you everything, but let's go ahead and start off. What do you want? What's the first thing you want people to know when they're picking up the book to read it?
Listen, so although it says she rose, it could be heroes, who, whatever you are, right? She rose, heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and what you need to know is, and I know I say this all the time, I'm not, I am a Christian, right? I believe in Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and Savior. And because he
Mm-hmm.
rose, so have I. And that's what I want people to take away.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you've been through in your life, and Lord knows I had a wild life. If you read the book, good God Almighty, I probably shouldn't be here. It's only a miracle that y'all looking and talking to me right now today. And of course, I did not put everything in the book, but it's a lot. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot in there. Good God Almighty, I try
Oh, it
not to
goes
hold
there.
back. It goes deep, and and even my publisher is a Christian publishing company, and she was just like, go for it. And when I gave her my manuscript and she didn't take nothing out, I mean nothing, no, she was like, yeah, this is perfect and this is what we need. So what I want people to know is God, he don't have no respect of person, right?
And
And the whatever you've been through, he is a forgiving God. He loves us. He wants us. He adores us. Listen, you are his child. If you're not
that's
saved,
right.
get saved. That's what the book does. It leads you to Christ. Now it's going to take you through some drinking, some cussing, some sex, some whole, like I give it all, but you're
Mm-hmm.
going to see through it all. I was seeking God, and here it is. He was there all along. That's what you're going to get. I don't want to give you too much, but that's what you're going to get.
Mm. Oh, but you gave enough. You gave enough, because it is. When I tell you, when I started, well, first of all, let me say this. When I tried out for, I'm in the play. So y'all come see me on July 20th right here in Waldorf. Well, what, White Plains.
White Plains.
So come see me and you gonna hear me too. Y'all know, y'all gonna hear me too. But so ReCe was like, try out for the play. And I'm like, okay, because we had did a play at church. And for those of you all who don't know, I like acting was my first love, but I actually started producing when I was a little girl. I produced I can't even remember the name of the play, but I kind of grew. That's where my love for production grew. And then as I got older, middle school, my mom writes plays. And I say write, meaning she still can write plays. So mom that listening, we need a play. I didn't say she used to write plays. My mom writes plays. But at my church, that's what I used to do. We would tag team. So she would write, I would produce. And at first she just thought it was me being bossy. But I mean, we had to get we had to prune it and get the goodness out of it. And that's where my love for production started. So when ReCe asked me, I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I can work behind the scenes too, whatever, whatever. But I did not know. I had heard about that the book came out, She Rose, and I'm like, okay, she gonna tell a story how resilience, rejection to resilience. And I know as we in the body of Christ, we go through stuff, but I did not know. I'm sitting there at the reading, or like when I was getting ready to audition, I was like, oh, 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 okay. So it definitely went there. So were you nervous? I know it took 15 years to get out. I know you had your publisher pushing you because she's a Christian child of God and we are Christians as well. But were you nervous about at any time about the way people would see you? Because you know how sometimes us church folks, not really Christians, but the church folks can be so judgy and judgmental and act like they ain't never did nothing or don't have a past. Were you nervous about how that would be received and perceived from people?
Absolutely, I was. But I had to get to the point of, you know what? This is my story. And it's not for the church people. It's for the unsaved. It's for the unsaved. Right. It's not for the church people. It's for the unsaved. Now, the church people, y'all go ahead and read it. Clutch your pearls, because I done heard them stories. They be like, oh my God, you said that? Yes, because you did it, but you just didn't say it. I am that bold one that was able to tell my story. And because I know God is with me, I don't care what you say, don't care what you think, because I'm good in my skin. And I had to get to that place where I'm not people pleasing. How about that?
Come on here.
I want to tell my story because, again, I want to be able to say, hey, little sister, hey, little brother, or brother, sister, you could be older than me. God still love you. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter, the lifestyle you chose. He loves you. Come on in. Because a lot of people think that God don't love them. And God does. They get false narratives. So, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite books in the Bible is Romans 8. Like I love Romans 8 in its entirety. And it talks about how nothing, absolutely nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. And it's like when you understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, when separation comes from a believer and God, is because we pulled ourselves back. It's never because God has taken himself away from us, because absolutely nothing that we can do will separate us from the love of Christ. And oftentimes, people may go through something, they may backslide, or maybe not even be in a backslidden state, because you know how Pastor P said on Sunday, sometimes we think that because we were tempted that we can't serve, we can't worship, we can't praise, or we can't be in the presence, or we can't be in a house, when it was just temptation. And they say temptation gonna come. I don't even know how we got here, but it's needed. But they say temptation is gonna come, but there's nothing that we can do, that we have done, that will separate us from God's love. So I think you said it perfectly when you said, yep. I think you said that perfectly. So we're talking about the book. We're going to talk a little bit more about the book. So in your book, you talk about something in the Black community and and in families as a whole, about childhood molestation, and how but you didn't call it that. We didn't put the title of that on there, but that's what it was. And it happened with friends, with someone just a tad bit older than you. Let's talk about that, because oftentimes in the Black community and the community as a whole, and sometimes in the church house, we go through things as children with other children, and it's swept under the rug, and it can leave a lasting impression on us and change our lives if it's not dealt with in the correct way. I always talk talk about something called ACEs, which is adverse childhood experiences, and that's how different things can that you go through as a child can shape you as an adult, and it's trauma, and you can't medicate trauma. You can only heal trauma. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and thank you for just thank you for this opportunity. So for a long time, like you said, I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know what it was. And as you know, in the book and in the play, I thought it was something that was normal. Remember how I went to school,
Yeah.
right? So I thought it was something, I thought it was a game, right? But as I, grew older, I was like, what in the world did they do to me? What did you do to me? Because this is not normal. So once I realized what had taken place and had to go back and revisit, and then I had to work through that. So I had a lot of counseling and not just prayer. I had therapy because a lot of people want to just be, and I love prayer. But we also have to to get some professional help to walk through that, right? And thank God for my Christian counselor. She is, she know the word, but she also know that she's a real doctor, a therapist. So she walked me through, she knows it. That mental, she have it down packed. So she had to walk me through a lot of different things. But it is something that, again, we need to address. It's still happening. People just don't talk about it. And if you know that something is not right, and that's why, even with my children, and I have two daughters, they 16 years apart. I was honest with both of them. I didn't hide anything because I know all of the trauma and the stuff that I hid and how it shaped my life, right? I didn't want their life to be shaped like that. So where, like, someone, even with the play, I said that the play is for a mature audience. If they are 6, they have to pay this adult price, right? Because I know that it could trigger or whatever. You might be exposing your child to something, and that's you as a parent. You have to make that decision. Me as a parent, I didn't hold anything from my children. I told them, this is that, this could happen, this might happen, this will happen. And because I did not want them to go through what I went through. And I went through a lot of, and that's where I believe the shyness came from. That girl, the little girl inside that I didn't like, because now I'm trying to see, who am I? And because I didn't know who I was, because this person did what they did to me at an early age, very early age, I was sitting here like, okay, what did I do? Who am I? And it took a lot to get to where I am today. So I think everybody, every family, if you are bold enough, and you can be, because God is your strength, have those tough conversations. And we call it courageous conversations. Have those courageous conversations. And I think your children will be fine. Because if you don't have it, YouTube, TikTok, somebody else, school, they're going to have it. And especially now, we didn't have social media then. So how it is now, yeah.
So how long did the molestation go on, or do you remember? Was it for over a period of time, a long period of time, or a short time, or do you remember?
No, it was that one time that they did it, but then it happened again with another person. So it was a female and it was a guy. And that's when I was just like, okay, this is enough. And I don't talk about his part of it, but I do, because hers was the key part, in the beginning. So yes.
It was the opening up. Gotcha. And since we're talking about it, are there any signs that you can tell parents to look for within their little kid, like little baby, little kids, of molestation, or someone doing something
I just say
wrong,
pay attention to your children.
Ways? Are there any signs or symptoms?
Yeah, definitely pay attention to your children. You don't have to be I think the internet is
to look for.
the internet is doing something. Can you hear me?
Pop back up because I'm back up, I think.
Okay, I'm here.
And no, I can't hear mouth moving. I see the words. Hold on, I'm gonna try to switch to my other platform, my other. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you though. Hold on.
You can't hear me? How you gonna say
Are you muted?
No.
I'm gonna send you another hold on. Let's try now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Ooh, it was getting good too. That ain't nothing but the devil. Hold on. Y'all bear with me. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but bear with me. ReCe should be coming right back up. I will say that these are sensitive topics that we're going to be talking about. So if you have a child that's watching, you may want to limit them because we're going to be talking about a few sensitive things. We already dived a little bit into a sensitive issue. This is not the kid-friendly Tiff's Talk as some of them are, but just hold on, keep it right there. I got ReCe coming back in just a second. She'll be coming back in, and as she come in, as we're waiting for her to come back in and come on my screen. So like I said, on July 20th we are doing a play called She Rose. This is the book. And ReCe, when she comes back in, she's going to tell you where you can get the book from. We're going to talk about how you can purchase the book and how you can purchase tickets for the play. And I really want you guys to come because this is so beautiful. It is beautifully done. The book is beautifully written. The play is going to be just as good. I got my guest. Hold on. She coming back in. There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Why?
No, I don't know why, but I cannot hear you at all. Hold on. Let me see. Nope, I can't hear you.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
We coming, but I can't hear you.
Is everything turned up on your end?
Not a bit can I hear you. Let's see. I see your mouth moving. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.